Well, hello, my fabulous friends. I hope you're doing well. Well, something a little bit different today. I actually put into ChatGPT, I said all the articles from all sources around the world, because we know they report on the royals in India, Australia, Canada, US, of course, the UK, and other Commonwealth countries. I said, I want you to research all those articles and then summarize them for us and I did it for the last year. All right. And the report it came out with is absolutely stunning. And this would have taken a person days upon days to find all these articles, to summarize them, pull out the main points. So, parts of this with AI for deep research like this, you cannot go wrong. For creation of new things, that's a little bit different. I believe that only human beings can be creative and pull things away from God, from source, from soul, from the universe, whatever you call it. AI can't do that. But what AI can do is do this deep research for us and come to some conclusions. And some of them are absolutely incredible. So sit back, or if you want to go pour yourself some comfort, and pause it now, and otherwise sit back. A lot of people I know, they put the videos on and do their housework or go for their walk or whatever. You certainly do not have to watch this one at all. It's all audio. I'll just have pictures of royals and whatnot on there. So go ahead and it might even be a good AMSR for you to fall asleep to. Anyways, I present to you the Zeitgeist of the British royal family in 2025. Shall we begin? In the ever turning wheel of monarchy, perception reigns as powerfully as the crown itself. One might don ermine and gold, but it's hearts and minds of the people, their collective musings, murmurs, and mood, that form the true throne upon which the royalty rests. And so we find ourselves peering into that great mirror of the moment, that shimmering pool of popular sentiment known in the ancient tongues, or at least the Germans ones, as the Zeitgeist. The Zeitgeist, from the German words Zeit, which means time, and Geist, which means spirit or ghost, refers to the spirit of the age, the prevailing ideas, beliefs, moods, and narratives that define a particular era. It is the invisible current flowing through our headlines and hashtags, shaping not only what we think of the royals, but what they symbolize to us now in this most peculiar of ages. This report, lovingly conjured by your devoted oracle, takes the pulse of the present where it beats the strongest, in the court of public opinion. Here you will find each senior royal, working and non working alike, measured not in bloodline or protocol, but the currency of the cultural relevance, media buzz, public sentiment, symbolic resonance, and whispered future winds. And we listen ever so carefully to the ghost in the palace halls. Let the royal zeitgeist of 2025 unfold before you. All right, so of course, we are going to start with King Charles. King Charles III. The media buzz and narrative. As the first year of King Charles' reign progresses, he has projected stability and continuity. Coverage emphasizes his blend of traditionalism and personal passions. For instance, his long standing advocacy on climate issues and interfaith dialogue within a modern context. There have been a handful of anti monarchy protests with Not My King banners at his public appearances, yet these remain small and symbolic, occurring against a backdrop of generally positive crowds. Overall, the media paints Charles as a conscientious monarch focusing on a slimmed down royal team and duty, even after a health scare in early 2024 when he briefly stepped back following a cancer diagnosis. He has since resumed a regular schedule of engagements, appearing to have settled into his role as monarch with a reassuring of low key presence. The public sentiment. Public opinion towards Charles has warmed compared to his tumultuous years as Prince of Wales. Polls indicate around two-thirds of Britons hold a favorable view of the king, although he is not as universally beloved as his late mother. Notably, support for the monarchy stands near 60% in Britain, with just over 30% negative, but this support is softer among younger generations. Many older Britons see Charles as a dignified, if less charismatic, figure carrying on Queen Elizabeth II's legacy. In contrast, younger adults are more ambivalent, which has energized Republican sentiments in some quarters. Internationally, Charles commands respect, if not adoration. American polls give him modest approval, net positive plus 21 in one survey, and in the Commonwealth realms like Australia and Canada, he is received politely, even as debates about the monarchy's future gain traction. Near future projection. Bearing any unforeseen controversies, King Charles' image seems likely to remain one of a steady elder statesman monarch. He is expected to continue emphasizing his key causes, such as environmental stewardship, in careful ways that don't overstep his non political role. Public sentiment may gradually become more sympathetic as people observe his dedication and perhaps softer personality as king. However, given that he has already entered his 70s and lacks the enduring mystique of his mother, many believe he will essentially be a transitional figure. The monarchy's near future may hinge on how well Charles can bridge tradition and modern expectations. He will probably maintain decent approval at home, while any significant boost in popularity might come from successfully managing family rifts or engaging the public in contemporary issues. All told, the prevailing mood around Charles is cautiously appreciative, a people reserving their deepest excitement for the next generation while acknowledging the king's earnest devotion to his role. I can agree with that. All right, Queen Camilla. Media buzz and narrative. Queen Camilla's public narrative has undergone a remarkable rehabilitation. Once vilified in the press as the third person in Charles and Diana's marriage, she is now often portrayed as the loyal consort who has quietly earned her place. Many outlets highlight the success of a calculated and highly successful PR campaign, combined with Camilla's continuous diligence, humility, thick skin, and determination, which have gradually improved her public image. Since being crowned alongside Charles in 2023, Camilla has focused on her charitable interests, from literacy to domestic violence survivors, drawing respectful media coverage for her down to earth style and commitment. There is still the occasional harking back to Princess Diana's legacy in tabloids and comparisons of fashion or approach, but broadly the media tone is of acceptance. Camilla's journey from reviled mistress to queen is often cited as evidence of changing attitudes and successful image management. Public sentiment. In the UK, Camilla's standing with the public has lifted notably from decades past. Roughly half of Britons now view her favorably. While she clearly splits opinion, the scales tip slightly positive, with about 41% holding a negative view as of a recent polling, down from higher negatives years ago. Many people have come to appreciate her steadfast support of Charles and her avoidance of personal drama. However, a sentiment of the public, especially steadfast Diana admirers, remain cool toward Camilla, an attitude that may persist for some. Internationally, perceptions vary. Camilla has made great strides in the UK, but in the US, she's still regarded more skeptically. One American poll gave her a net favorability of -7, indicating more dislike than like. This suggests that while Brits have gradually warmed to her, overseas she is often viewed through the lens of the past. Near future projection. Bearing any missteps, Queen Camilla's public image is likely to continue its gentle upward trend. As she continues her charitable work and maintains a gracious, grandmotherly public persona, more people may soften toward her. Time has a way of recasting reputations. Camilla's own evolution from taboo figure to respected royal consort may further solidify with each year of dutiful service. Nonetheless, she may always face a degree of reservation in public sentiment. The shadow of Diana's memory lingers, especially abroad and among older generations. In the near future, expect Camilla to keep a relatively low personal profile. She rarely courts the spotlight, supporting King Charles behind the scenes and occasionally stepping forward to champion her causes. This consistency and discretion will likely sustain the generally sympathetic, if still somewhat muted, cultural perception she now enjoys. Prince William, the Prince of Wales. Media buzz and narrative. Prince William is frequently depicted as the linchpin of the monarchy's future. Media narratives laud him as a dedicated family man and forward looking royal. Stories often focus on his initiatives, such as the Earthshot Prize, his ambitious Global Environmental Award, and his recently launched program to tackle homelessness, efforts that frame William as socially conscious and in touch with contemporary issues. Royal commentators have noticed that William is keen to modernize the institution in due time, favoring an evolution, not revolution, in how the monarchy operates when he eventually succeeds his father. At the same time, he has carefully upheld tradition and duty, rarely putting a foot wrong in public. The press also relishes positive personal antidotes. For example, William taking time off around Easter to support Catherine during a health scare was widely reported as a sign of his devotion, bolstering his image as a loving husband. Overall, the media buzz around William paints him as a man balancing the weight of destiny with a relatable touch. In essence, a king in waiting who is learning from past generational missteps and determined to keep the crown relevant. Public sentiment. Prince William enjoys robust approval on both sides of the Atlantic. In the UK, he is among the most popular royals, with recent favorably ratings in the 70% range. His steady presence and scandal free life, save for unproven tabloid rumors, have made him someone the public trusts. Surveys position him and his wife as the monarchy's greatest assets. Commentators note that an awful lot of the future of the monarchy rests on the shoulders of Prince William, given King Charles' age and William's relative youth. In cultural perception, he's often seen as combining his grandmother's duty focused ethic with his mother Diana's human touch, albeit more reserved in expression. In the US, William also polls very well. One 2025 poll had him at a net plus 53 favorability, higher than any other British royal. Americans are drawn to the narrative of William as the handsome, responsible prince and future king. Across the Commonwealth, he's respected, with many seeing him and Catherine as the embodiment of a stable royal future. Near future projection. The trajectory for William's public image points ever upward. As he gradually assumes more responsibilities from his father, we can expect him to further champion causes that resonate with younger generations: environmental action, mental health, homelessness, while maintaining the mystique of the crown. Given his current popularity and media savvy approach, William is likely to be perceived as the de facto leader of the royal family in the public imagination even before he takes the throne. He has already shown signs of adapting royal protocol to be more accessible, for example, engaging directly via social media and impromptu interactions. And this trend will probably continue in a measured way. Near term, the narrative of William being the modern monarch in waiting will grow. He is poised to inherit not just the throne, but the affections and expectations of a people who see him a promise of continuity and a touch of much needed change. Catherine, Princess of Wales. I was really happy to see that they did that. It didn't call her Kate, called her Catherine, Princess of Wales. Media buzz and narrative. Catherine, also known as Kate, so it does acknowledge that she's known as Kate in the media. Princess of Wales has solidified herself as the beloved jewel of the royal family in media eyes. The press tirelessly chronicles her fashion choices, parenting moments, and royal engagements, nearly always with a positive spin. She has cultivated an elegant but accessible image in recent years, seamlessly blending regal glamour with an approachable warmth. Media narratives often highlight how this image has cemented her as Britain's favorite royal. In the past 6 to 12 months, Catherine took on even more prominent role, spearheading her early childhood development initiative, visibly supporting mental health causes alongside William, and gracefully stepping up at state events. A brief bout of health related absence early in 2024, which turned out to be due to a health issue she publicly disclosed and overcame, sparked a frenzy of public concern and wild online theories, demonstrating how central she is to royal watchers' hearts. Upon her return, the media applause was loud, painting her as resilient and dedicated. In essence, Catherine's narrative is that of the exemplary princess, devoted to her family, dutiful in public life, and carrying a bit of Diana's star quality without the accompanying controversy. Public sentiment. Catherine is arguably the most admired member of the royal family today. UK polls consistently place her at the top of popularity rankings. One poll showed about 76% positive favorability, the highest of any royal. The British public appreciates her steadiness and the fact that she has navigated her role with grace, free of scandal. Many see her as a future queen consort in the model of Elizabeth II, supportive, uncontroversial, and deeply respected. The fallout of the very public rift with Harry and Meghan did momentarily put her under intense scrutiny, but her popularity has recovered since that period, aided by her evident sincerity in appearances. In the United States and other countries, Catherine is also well regarded, often seen as a style icon and a key asset to the monarchy's global image. Americans, who cherish Princess Diana, find Catherine comparably endearing in her own way, noting her poised and scandal free demeanor. Her cultural perception is broadly that of the ideal modern princess: caring, classy, and relatable despite her status. Near future projection. Looking ahead, Catherine's luminous reputation is likely to continue shining brightly. She will remain front and center at major royal occasions and continue champion issues close to her heart: children's welfare, early education, mental health, which will keep the public firmly on her side. As she moves towards eventually becoming queen alongside William, her role will only expand, and given her current trajectory, she will handle it with the same understated confidence that has won her so much admiration. The near future may even see her influence grow in shaping the royal family's appeal. Her presence has been noticed to bring star power to even the most mundane ribbon cutting event, a quality that will be invaluable. In sum, expect Catherine to remain a universally liked figure, with perhaps even deeper affection from the public as they witness her evolution from youthful Duchess to seasoned Princess of Wales, and one day to the matriarchal queen figure of the realm. All right. Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex. Media buzz and narrative. Oh, this is going to be a long one. Prince Harry's journey over the past couple of years has been a roller coaster intensity covered by media worldwide. In the UK, especially, the press narrative has shifted dramatically from his earlier image as the lovable spare prince to a far more contentious figure. The release of his memoir Spare in January 2023, with its many personal revelations, and the Sussex's Netflix documentary marked a crescendo of media buzz that painted Harry as airing the monarchy's dirty laundry. Many British outlets have portrayed him as the instigator of the family rift. Indeed, the prevailing narrative suggests the public sees him as largely to blame for the royal split with his father and brother. Subsequent events, from his court cases against UK tabloids, where he became the first royal in modern memory to testify in court, alleging phone hacking, to his quick in and out trip for King Charles' coronation in 2023, have kept him in the headlines, often with a critical tone in the UK press. Across the Atlantic, the media narrative is more divided. US outlets and audiences initially greeted Harry and Meghan's candidness with considerable sympathy, admiring their push for independence and mental health advocacy. But even in America, there have been signs of Sussex fatigue as the couple's every move, like a high speed paparazzi car chase claim in New York, or their business ventures such as the Spotify podcast deal that ended in 2023, is dissected and sometimes met with skepticism. Still, Harry garners more empathy in the US than in Britain, often seen as Diana's son who bravely speaks about his trauma. Overall, the cultural narrative around Prince Harry is polarized. Hero to some, misguided rebel to others, a royal who traded a gilded cage for the unknown, with media scrutiny following relentlessly either way. Public sentiment. The public opinion reflects this split in narrative. In the UK, Harry's popularity has plummeted from its once high peak. Surveys over the past year show a majority of Britons view him negatively. Roughly 61% have an unfavorable opinion, and only about 31% a positive one. This negative rating is a stark turnaround, indicating a feeling of betrayal among some Britons who dislike seeing private family matters spilled and the monarchy openly criticized. On the other hand, in the United States, Harry remains in better standing. Polling in 2025 found him at a net positive rating, for example, plus 35 in favorability, suggesting many Americans continue to like him, charmed by his forthrightness and charity work. Younger demographics globally also tend to be more sympathetic to Harry, often agreeing with his critiques of the media and arguments about mental health and personal autonomy. In Commonwealth nations, sentiment varies. Some who value tradition are dismayed, while others applaud his breakaway as a modern stance. Culturally, Harry's image oscillates between being seen as a cautionary tale of royal duty versus personal happiness, and as an emblem of a new generation unwilling to play the game at the expense of well being. Near future projection. In the near term, Prince Harry's perception may gradually mellow, especially if he steps back from public criticism of the royal family and focuses on his independent projects. His Invictus Games continue to be a resounding success and a source of positive coverage. Leaning into that kind of work could rebuild goodwill. There are hints that he and Meghan are recalibrating their media presence. For example, fewer tell all interviews, more professional endeavors, which might reduce the friction in how they're seen. If reconciliation with his family occurs down the line, it could also soften public attitudes. For now, however, it is likely Harry will remain a divisive figure. Many Britons will view him skeptically unless there's a significant change in the narrative, while many Americans and younger royal followers will continue to cheer his efforts to chart his own path. The coming years will show whether Harry further embraces a low profile, philanthropic identity, potentially winning back some respect, or whether periodic controversies keep the spotlight and the critiques firmly on him. In the cultural saga of the House of Windsor, he occupies the role of the prodigal prince in self imposed exile, and that image may persist a while longer. Meghan, Duchess of Sussex. Media buzz and narrative. Few figures in the royal orbit generate as much heated discourse as Meghan Markle. Over the past year, the media buzz around Meghan has been intense and often double edged. On one hand, she has received accolades, for instance, being honored with a Woman of Vision Award in 2023 for her advocacy, and her supporters praise her for speaking up about mental health and inequality. On the other hand, a loud segment of the media, particularly in the UK tabloids, has maintained a critical drumbeat. Every action can become fodder. Even Meghan's well-intentioned humanitarian gestures have been met with cynicism by detractors. For example, when she supported the Los Angeles wildfire relief efforts in 2023, some commentators snidely cast her as parachuting in for PR, proving that the actor come Duchess can't do right for doing wrong in certain eyes. There have been persistent negative storylines, allegations, stoked by a Vanity Fair article and others, of difficult behavior and staff turnover, resurfaced claims that she bullied palace aides, denied by Sussex sources, and commentary mocking her Hollywood endeavors. At the same time, voices in the media have pushed back on this narrative, pointing out the familiar tale of vitriol and invective she faces, attributing to the hostility to underlying misogyny and racism in some attacks. But of course, in US pop culture, Meghan often finds more favorable coverage. She's seen attending Hollywood dinners, potentially relaunching her lifestyle blog, or quietly networking, and the tone is more optimistic about her rebranding as an influential figure outside the royal family. In some, the zeitgeist around Meghan is sharply polarized. She is either celebrated as a modern, courageous woman who challenged an age old institution, or lambasted as a disruptive, attention seeking figure with very little middle ground. Public sentiment. Public opinion of Meghan mirrors this split. In the United Kingdom, she has had some of the lowest approval ratings of any royal in recent memory. Remember, that includes Andrew. Only about one quarter of Britons view Meghan positively, around 26%, while a solid majority hold an unfavorable opinion. This negative perception in the UK has been entrenched since the Sussexes' departure and their subsequent candid interviews, which many in Britain saw as an affront to the Queen and the family. In contrast, the United States offers Meghan a far more hospitable climate. American polls in 2025 show her overall liked more than people than not. For instance, 41% of Americans voiced a favorable view of American against 26% unfavorable. She resonates especially with those who value her as a symbol of self determination and female empowerment. Additionally, demographics play a role. Younger people and women of color in various surveys tend to be more supportive of Meghan, identifying with the biases she has discussed. Still, even in the US, her popularity hasn't fully rebounded to the highs of her early royal days. The saturation of media coverage led some to adopt a more critical or exhausted stance. Globally, Meghan's image often depends on local media narratives. In countries where the British royal family is respected, she might be viewed warily, whereas other places emphasize her role as a humanitarian and celebrity. Near future projection. In the coming months and years will be pivotal for Meghan's public image. If current indications hold, she appears to be orientating herself toward a new chapter, less about royal drama and more about personal projects. A relaunch of her lifestyle brand or new media content, sans royal revelations, would allow her to connect with audiences on her own terms, potentially improving public sentiment among those often seeing a different side of her. Continuation of her charity work, done with sincerity and without excessive publicity, may also help soften some hearts over time. However, entrenched critics in the UK press are unlikely to relent. We can expect that any public move by Meghan will still be met with a mix of admiration and suspicion. In the near future, her perception will likely remain divided. To many, she will embody a progressive, independent spirit, forging a path outside the palace, while to others, she will remain a controversial figure who challenged the cherished royal institution. It is a testament to her complex role in the royal story that the Meghan narrative has become a test for one's views on tradition, race, and media ethics. With a warm, loyal fan base on one side and vocal detractors on the other, Meghan's cultural presence will continue to spark debate, but perhaps with less fire as the initial shock of the royal exit fades and she crafts a more defined post royal identity. And then it goes on to do the Princess Royal, Prince Edward, and of course Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, and Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie. But I'm not going to read those. I'm going to post this on the blog and I'll put the link down below. I'm going to end with the crown's changing aura, overall insights, a house of Windsors and change. Stepping back, the collective zeitgeist surrounding Britain's senior royals in 2025 is a tapestry of reverence for tradition, interwoven with the threads of controversy and change. In the UK, the monarchy still enjoys a bedrock of support. Roughly 60% of Britons have a positive view of the institution, but it no longer commands the near unanimous admiration it did in Queen Elizabeth II's heyday. Notably, there is a generational divide. Younger Britons are far less enamored with the royals than their elders, leading to an energized Republican sentiment. We see this in the small yet symbolically significant Not My King protests that have now become a routine sight at King Charles' public events. While these protesters are a minority, their visibility underscores a modern truth. The royal family can no longer assume broad deference, especially from millennials and Generation Z. At the same time, many Britons in middle and older age still feel a deep cultural loyalty to the crown, shouting, "God save the king," in answer to dissenters. Thus, the monarchy stands at a crossroads of public sentiment, respected and even loved by a considerable portion of society, but questioned by others in ways that would have been rare a generation ago. Each royal's personal standing contributes to this overall picture. The wildly admired figures like William, Catherine, Anne, and increasingly Sophie prop up in the monarchy's popularity, while the more controversial ones, Harry, Meghan, and the shadow of Andrew, present challenges that tempered unbridled enthusiasm. Media and international perception. Media narratives both reflect and shape the zeitgeist. In the UK, traditional media largely echo the public sentiment spectrum, from the respectful coverage of figures like Princess Anne and the Prince and Princess of Wales to the relentless scrutiny, even extortion, relentless scrutiny of Harry and Meghan's every move. The British the British press in particular remains a powerful force in molding royal images and has drawn clear lines between heroes and villains in the family saga. Internationally, the picture is just as varied. In the United States, the fascination with British royalty endures, but Americans often project their own values onto these figures. William and Catherine are celebrated as a fairy tale of duty and poise, while Harry and Meghan are often seen through the lens of celebrity culture and social issues, garnering both admiration and criticism. Recent polls show Americans rate William and Catherine very favorably, net positives in the plus 40s and plus 50s, and also generally like Harry and Meghan more than Britons do, although the couple's star power has diminished somewhat since the initial post Megxit surge. In Commonwealth realms like Canada and Australia, where the monarch remains the head of state, there is a noticeable shift towards pragmatic reassessment. Respect for the Queen's memory has been gradually giving way to discussions about constitutional future under King Charles. Australian and Canadian media often still cover royal visits with warmth, but Republican voices in those countries have gained a platform reflecting a look at the monarchy anew after the succession. Social media worldwide adds another layer, amplifying both adulation and outrage and collecting global audiences to every royal story in real time. This digital course has been respectfully impactful on the reputation of the younger royals, proving that the court of public opinion today is truly international and instantaneous arena. Near future trajectory of the royal zeitgeist. Based on current trends, the near future will likely see the monarchy doubling down on its strengths to maintain public support. The most admired royals, William and Catherine foremost, with Anne, Edward, Sophie, and the next generation of Wales children as they grow, will carry much of the symbolic weight. Their wholesome narratives of duty, stability, and relatability will be emphasized to shore up the institution's appeal. King Charles III, aware of his role as a bridge between eras, will continue to project continuity while cautiously introducing his personal touch. For example, a focus on climate action and interfaith unity, hoping to gradually win over more skeptics without alienating traditionalists. Meanwhile, the more divisive chapters, chiefly the ongoing Sussex saga, may slowly recede from the forefront if no new controversies erupt. Harry and Meghan, carving out independent lives, might find a more comfortable equilibrium with the royal establishment over time, which could help ease the tense narrative and allow for some healing in the public eye. However, challenges remain. The question of royal relevance to younger generations looms large. The royals are increasingly aware that simply existing as symbols of history is not enough. They need to be seen as contributing to solutions for today's issues. Initiatives like William's Earthshot Prize, Charles' patronage of interfaith dialogue, or even Sophie's engagements in previously overlooked communities are part of this adaptive strategy. In the cultural psyche, the Windsors are trying to rewrite their story for the 21st century, showing they can be both mystical figures of tradition and compassionate agents of change. The success of this balancing act will determine whether public sentiment in the coming years tilts more towards renewed administration or increased indifference. For now, the prevailing mood is one of cautious respect tinged with scrutiny, a recognition that the House of Windsor, much like the ancient crown it bears, must continuously be polished if it is to keep its shine in the modern world. Thank you for joining me. I thought this was fascinating, and I think it's pretty right on. And please take good care of yourself. See you online.